So here I am again. Now, I have no idea what happened. I know I'm human and technology is definitely technology. And I guess some things just don't always line up the way they're supposed to. I apologize to those of you who are attempting to listen and things didn't come out quite right. From what I understand, this happens sometimes. So as much as it has to do with me, please forgive me for that error in whatever it was that went wrong. I'm not going to take you through all the pieces that I did earlier. Just know that we talked about relaxing and the importance always of being able to do that. And I hope some of you join in and catch me this time. You might not see it live, but maybe at least you'll see it a little bit later on. I told you to look for something to add into your relaxing and breathing toolbox that just might help you manage a difficult situation, because it might come up anywhere, in the car, home, office, somewhere. Look for something to add in that might help you to be more effective in relaxing and breathing. The piece of the mindful moment came from the original writings of a guy named John Donne, D-O-N-N-E. And this is what he wrote. I'm going to give it to you in part. He said, "No man is an island entire of itself. Each is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. Each man's death diminishes me because I am involved in mankind. Therefore sin not to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee." His piece is suggesting that what happens is we are a part of an entire network of other people. We don't live in this world alone. We are connected. No man is an island, even though some believe I can do it all myself. The reality is, not only can we not do it all ourselves, you never did do it all by yourself. Neither will you in the future. Take a look around your home. Is there anything in your home that you did or created by yourself without the assistance of somebody else? I'm looking at a wall that was built by somebody else, added on by someone else, books that were written by different people, the electricity, everything that we have, even the plants that are growing in your home. You say, well, I grew these myself. Did you really? Or did you create an environment for them to grow because of the divine order nature of things? There are so many people that say, I'm raising these kids all by myself. But, the reality is you're probably not. Matter of fact, you're definitely not. There are other people who are sharing pieces of input, either through things they're hearing on the radio, things on television, things that a neighbor is saying to them, a friend, another relative, that's a part of that child being raised. You're not really doing it all yourself. You may be providing some of the basic necessities of the child's life, but that doesn't make up who the child is in its entirety, does it? Even if you think of your own childhood, was it just your parents that helped you become the man and woman that you are? Or was it other people who touched your life in some kind of way that actually helped raise you little pieces at a time? There are some who go around and pridefully say, look what all I've done. I've accomplished this and I've accomplished that, while standing on the backs of the very people that laid a foundation for them to be able to stand up to do the things that they're doing. We are all a part. No man or woman is an island entire of itself. We're all a piece of the whole, a part of the continent. Wouldn't it be powerful if we could realize how connected that we actually are to other people? There's an African proverb that says, I am we. That's a different mindset. That's a different way of looking at the world and looking at people. The second part of his piece says, each man's death diminishes me. Literally. Basic physics. That if you have a hole and you take a piece from it, then that hole has been diminished to some degree. So naturally, whenever anyone dies, a part of us, if we understand that we are connected, has been diminished. But I want to go a little bit further. We've been diminished even in terms of our sensitivity towards life and living and such and humanity, because we've been inundated with information and we become desensitized to death and disaster and danger and things of that sort. So we see so much of it on Facebook, on the news, and constantly, that we're not as sensitive to it as we used to be. Unless there's a death in our family, unless it hits us close. But how many of us lose sleep or miss a meal because we hear of a death or a shooting of a single person that happened in a state or a country somewhere far off, or 5 people being killed in an incident? Or how many of you are upset about multiple deaths that happened just last week? You see, our sensitivity has been diminished because so many things are happening. We see so much of it, we become desensitized to those kinds of things, and we have diminished to some degree, even in our sense of humanity and connection to other people. I recently have seen some postings on Facebook of fights and beatings and things of this sort, while others are standing around, seem like in the times of the gladiators, cheering and taking pictures and trying to video record and laughing and encouraging the violence to continue, as if their sensitivity has been diminished completely because they've seen so much of it that it's no longer valuable. It's no longer important. We've been diminished by that. The last part of it says, sin not to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. So you don't have to ask. They used to have a bell that would ring whenever there was a funeral or someone had died, and you wonder, well, who was it? He says, sin not to know who the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. Every time a death happens, it reminds us that we are that much closer to our own ultimate transition, that we are just a little bit closer, that every time we see that episode of someone else being killed or something, that bell is tolling for us. A part of us has just been diminished. Now we are replenished because the rate of deaths in the world is something like 6,000 plus an hour. The rate of births is 15,000 plus an hour. So as we are being diminished, we are being replenished, but we are being replenished with a desensitized mindset and attitude. Who are we ultimately becoming because of this because becoming no longer sensitive? That's the main thing. No longer being sensitive to the things that's going on around us. No man is an island. Each man's death diminishes us. We are involved in mankind, whether we know it or not. I said in the last clip, it took 2 people to make you. It took 4 to make those 2. It took 8 to make those 4. It took 16 to make the 8, to make the 4, to make the 2 that made you. Ultimately, thousands of people had to meet at the exact right time for you to be here today. We are a part of humanity. We're not separate. So I encourage you to look for and create opportunities to have this dialogue with someone who believes that they are disconnected from the rest of the world, that they operate independently, that they do it all themselves and nobody is helping them do anything. Look for an opportunity to help raise their consciousness, to open that third eye of theirs so that they can become aware that, wait a minute, maybe it's really not all me by myself. Maybe I am doing this and it feels like I'm alone because I haven't recognized that I'm standing on the backs of people who laid a foundation for me to do what it is I'm doing. What if you share that piece of information with somebody that's in your circle? Look for an opportunity to do that. Look for an opportunity to pass this video, this message on. Consider the possibility of clearing your lenses and clearing your vision to when you see other people, you realize and you're able to see the connection. Did you know that they say we treat people as we see them? So if you see that other person as being separate and distant from you, you're going to treat them just that way. But it's difficult to do harm to another individual, speak disrespectfully to another individual if you really understand and believe that that other person is connected to you. As the African proverb says, I am we. We are all connected. Consider the possibility of that. Lastly, I encourage you to expect and experience the miracles that will expand in your life as you become more conscious of the interconnectedness that we have in this world, that we do not stand alone, that you don't have to do it all alone. You might just need to recognize, wait a minute, I've got somebody who's always been here, or who has been here before, or maybe I can learn from experiences of others. I am not alone no matter what it is. When we see cases of people that are committing suicides and getting in self-destructive behaviors and lifestyle because they believe nobody else understands, there's always somebody who has been through something relatively similar to you. You are not alone. Expect and experience the miracles that will expand in your life once you really realize that. I want to thank you for joining the second part of this. I hope the technology worked with us this time. Thank you for this. I hope that you do travel well. And as always, please travel with respect. Ending the part 2 of segment 17. We're signing off, and we'll see you next time. Respect.